blackouts are a headache for motorists, so it usually comes as a relief when people decide to direct traffic to keep it flowing. But not everyone is happy with that. The JMPD is warning civilians against directing traffic during power cuts. It says it can't be held liable if anything happens. Let's find out what the insurance implications are from Wynand van Vuuren from King Price. Mr. van Vuuren, thank you very much for your time this morning. Firstly, perhaps to start with the data, are you seeing an increase in claims as the country continues to experience blackouts?
Yeah, well, definitely, if there's havoc on the roads like we currently have it, people on the first place getting very, upset and drive irresponsible. And, with the backup of the traffic at the intersections, with the power outage and the load shedding, it does create, problems that we see. Not that I can say, with the direction of these intersections, that there's specifically more accidents that is occurring in the intersections. But, the congestion of the traffic is a problem.
And then insofar as the JMPD's warning to citizens that if you have these illegal pointsmen, if we can call them that, directing traffic, they would not be held liable. One, we understand that, but it becomes even more important to find out if my claim would go through. What happens in that respect if we ourselves allowed ourselves to be directed by these pointsmen? Because at times it's not that you're not a law-abiding citizen, but you're literally the one at the front at an intersection, and this pointsman is calling you to move along, and you've got traffic behind you, everybody's hooting. You can't decide to treat it as a stop and go as you usually would.
Yeah, it's a very serious scenario, and if I look here in Pretoria where I drive myself, I find myself often in that scenario. There's a pointsman. You're approaching an intersection and you're not 100% sure of what's happening there. Now, is this person actually a pointsman? Sometimes on the looks of things, you can doubt that. But, it's very dangerous. And that is not a trained person who can guide the traffic. But now you find yourself in that scenario. What are you going to do? The cars in front of you are following his instructions. And you can't just merely go and stop there. You've got a very good chance of the car driving into you, behind you. So let's get to the point if your insurance must cover an accident that happens there. First, we must know it's actually strange how there's such a lot of people that I randomly ask and say, listen, what are you going to do if you come to a traffic light that's not working, like we have now in load shedding? And people are not certain. You have to make sure that you treat it as a four-way stop or as a stop street. So you have to slow down in terms of what we've learned. You have to slow down, come to a full stop, and make sure that you yield way to the cars that stop there before you. So that's the first thing we need to be sure of. So now you're going to this intersection, and you see there's a pointsman guiding people through. I mean, it doesn't look to you like a traffic officer at that point. One can never be certain. The most important thing is that you always do what you have to do. You have to keep a proper lookout. There's 4 ways from which cars can come. People don't obey. I've seen drivers who just blatantly ignore this people. I didn't even know if it's an official pointsman, or if it's an illegal pointsman or what's happening there. You couldn't see already. And they just ignoring and they drive through. So you can't just, even if it's a traffic officer that you can identify, you can't even just drive through there because there can be cars coming from all over, and you've got a responsibility to keep a proper lookout. Now, if you always act with due care and precaution, you've kept your lookout, you've followed the instruction, the person is clear, you can see that the rest of the traffic at the intersection is following his instruction. I'll say, go with the flow of the traffic, go slow, be very careful, keep that lookout. You don't know if it's a pointsman, and if you act with that due care, your insurance must settle a claim that happens there, and King Price also settle those claims.
No, at least that's a relief that they do understand the situation currently. But beyond this perhaps is not necessarily within the realm that you specialize in as an insurer. But Is the JMPD not missing an opportunity here? Because it seems that load shedding is going to be with us for long. Is there no possibility with such high unemployment to perhaps even take graduates and train them somewhat and have them as our pointsmen all over? And most of them could possibly be, if you're a graduate in Soweto, direct traffic closer to home at something small, even if it was 1,005. Don't you think they're missing an opportunity here?
Mfundo, definitely. You know, if we see the difference that the pointsmen made over the last years, that we had to deal with these, with the load shedding and the problem with power stations blown up. I've seen here in Pretoria, it's actually very funny if you get to some of these traffic lights. Now that there's an illegal pointsman there guiding traffic, it's actually going a lot better there than when the traffic light is working. So I really think that there is an opportunity to take the people that are available and say, listen, let's train you properly. Let's give you the proper training that you are capable and the reflective clothing and everything that you will need to do what you're currently doing here. And I can't believe with the load shedding how many intersections this is happening here in Pretoria. So it's in the first place very dangerous. It's dangerous for the people that are that are guiding the traffic there, and that's not trained to specifically do that. I mean, their lives are also in danger. So I really think that the traffic police must kick in here and say, listen, let's do something. Let's find a way in putting trained people on those intersections and make sure that it's working properly.
And you know, Mr. Van Vuuren, I do understand that some would say sobriety is also a talking point here, because you wouldn't know if somebody's sober at the time when they're directing traffic, or it happens at times that maybe they could be smokers of nyaupe. There's a lot. But nevertheless, there is high unemployment. So it needn't necessarily be those ones. Like I said, they could even take just graduates that are sitting at home that are more than happy and appreciate just the 350 they're getting now. So most certainly might be willing to just do something else that will give them slightly a bit more.
It's a big opportunity, and I think it's really something to look into. It makes a big difference. You know, it is. I haven't even seen, anything being done about it, because it's for days and for hours that intersections are, controlled by people that I can clearly see as not being trained to do it. I mean, I know that the traffic laws. I've been driving for many years. I know traffic signs. I know exactly what must happen at an intersection. But I can tell you, I don't even think myself with these busy intersections where there are double lanes coming from all the sides, cars turning right, that I'll be able to fluently, control those traffic intersections. So how they can expect these people, it's very dangerous, and I think something must drastically be done.
No, most certainly. Mr. Van Vuuren, thank you very much. That was Wynand van Vuuren from King Price Insurance. To this